Flying Fortresses, the pioneer four-motored bus since 1935. Steamroller construction, weight about 25 tons, speed better than 300 miles an hour, range 2,100 miles. Piped oxygen for the crews and turbo superchargers for the air-cooled engines. The Norden bomb sight, a bomb release that drops them out in perfect stacked formation. A precision bomber at 30,000 feet and up. A combat plane at any level. The firepower of a dozen or more high-rate 50 caliber machine guns. A bomb load of 3.5 tons. But in the early summer of 1942, the big question was dark. The Fortresses had raked through the Pacific skies from Luzon to Midway. But could they bomb Europe? Could they fly and deliver and get back in broad daylight against the full fury of the enemy? Some of the experts said no. Not enough gunpowder, not enough armor, not enough speed or range or ruggedness. The losses would be too high. Here is a motion picture record of the first all-American Flying Fortress raid over Europe. The men crowd into the operations hut, under the windsock, traditional as the yellow flag of quarantine. This is the briefing, the final how, where, when, and why of the raid.
I have your attention, please, gentlemen. The pilots have all checked their crews. Everybody present and accounted for. For a long time, we've all been working very hard. The work has been grueling. It's produced results, and our standard of performance is very high. The fact is, however, unless that standard of performance remains high on an actual enemy target, all our work is going to go for nothing. Today we have an enemy target. Gentlemen, this is the real thing. This is the first operational mission we're going on. Now, you've all been issued your maps. You will note that the target is RP9X55. You will find that the recognition of the actual target area, if you follow your maps, will not be a matter of very great difficulty. As you come in from the southwest, you pass a range of rather high hills, ending in a knob of rock, which sticks up quite a considerable distance. You will note that to the left of the knob as you approach, and not very many miles away, is a lake. You progress past that lake, and you will pick up the area of the town without very much difficulty. Remember, when you approach the town, what your indicated altitude is going to be. Remember that you are not to go below that indicated altitude. Now, as you approach the area, you're going to run into rather heavy concentrations of flak. That flak has to be watched for. You've got to deal with it as you've been taught to deal with it.
We have a time check, please. Gentlemen, it is coming up on 45. I shall count the 5. 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45.
That's all.
That's all right.
Ten men to a ship, the combat team. 10 men blending together like a good jazz band. Pilot and co-pilot, bombardier, navigator, engineer, radio man, photographer gunner, waist gunner, ball turret gunner, and tail gunner. The ground men pull the chocks and the first plane hauls her nose round into the wind. The others behind her, following each other like a herd of elephants out of a water hole. The fortresses seem to flatten down, gathering way and lift, out toward the continent, out toward the enemy. The ground crews watching and hoping, their half of the job done. Now the ship's at operating altitude, squared away on course in formation. Keeping station, each plane helps to cover the others. Together they make one round, bristling hedgehog of fire. The pale, glimmering English sun and the English fields checkerboarded below. Americans from Massachusetts and Idaho and Kentucky, a long, long way from home. The target is Rouen, the railroad yards. They come in from the northeast in tight formation, very high, invisible from the ground, and make their bombing run as the flak leaps up. All away, the bombardiers shout. They group in elements of 3 for the run home. Mission accomplished. All B-17s return safely. More raids followed. August 19th, 1942. B-17s over Nazi fighter base at Abbeville in support of Dieppe raid. Aerodrome and fuel tanks fired. Buildings razed. Return with full complements. Mission accomplished. August 21st, 1942. 11 B-17s without fighter escort attacked over North Sea by 25 Focke-Wulfs 190s. 3 enemy fighters destroyed. 9 more probably destroyed or damaged. 1 Fortress pilot killed. Co-pilot wounded. August 27th, September 7th, October 5th, a fortress named Phyllis attacked by 40 Focke-Wulfs, 2 engines out of commission. A 3rd later failed over the channel. 3 shell holes in rudder, 3 more in stabilizers. Controls partly shot away, landing gear smashed. 200 holes in fuselage, but Phyllis came home. October 10th, more than 500 United Nations planes, 100 or more fortresses bombed locomotive and steel works at Lille. 4 bombers failed to return. American bomber crews credited with at least 48 German planes, probably 38 others, damage to 19 more.
General Eisenhower has mentioned the devastating attacks of our aircraft as one of the major factors in the Tunisian victory. Here are planes of the Northwest African Strategic Air Force, and this is a brief record of the part played by certain groups in that Air Force. The 321st Bomb Group used native labor to help fill the tanks of its B-25s. The final phase of the campaign, with stepped-up operations, made increasing demands on supplies, personnel, and equipment. Successful operations depend first on good maintenance. The cooperation of every crew in this group starts right here on the ground. These planes have to be ready on time. That means plenty of pressure on the ground crews who repair and keep these ships in fighting trim. It means trained crews who know their jobs. It means extra hours of work, plenty of cooperation, good organization, teamwork. The armorers have already begun to clean and load the guns of the medium bombers. The ammunition is checked and fed into turret and waist guns. Our ordnance crew arrives and begins to bomb up the B-17s. During all this field activity, the air crews back at headquarters are getting ready to be briefed on today's mission. The crews of the 321st Bomb Group answer briefing roll call by Captain Heinlein. Among those present were Lieutenants Bruce Stouts,
Here.
Hamilton Brinkley,
Here.
and Charles Failing.
Here.
St. Clair.
Here.
Hartsville.
Here.
McGowan. Klingro. Steinman. Lundgren.
Captain Malcolm Haven briefs them on today's target.
The target for this afternoon is Mature, the place that you so successfully bombed just 3 days ago. It's an easy target to find. It's a straight run on from Souk El Chemist, where you pick up your escort of P-40s. It's about 63 miles from this point here. You should have no trouble with heavy flak until you reach the target area of Mature itself.
Colonel R.D. Knapp.
Gentlemen, on bombing this town of Mature that we hit several days ago, and hit fairly well, as you see from the photographs of the town before and after striking. So it's very important to keep your tight formation. And any trouble you get into in this area is more apt to be from the enemy pursuit than from the ground flag.
In another headquarters, Captain W.P. Saunders.
Well, gentlemen, this mission today is just a part of a well-organized plan to prevent a successful evacuation by the enemy. Our government is furnishing you about $10 million worth of equipment in order to do a good job. From all available information, we estimate that there are about 50 enemy aircraft, mostly ME-109s, on this airdrome, in addition to 35 transports, largely Ju-52s. Now, these transports are at the present time furnishing a large part of the enemy's supplies, and in addition, of course, will be used in any evacuation move. Now, your job today is to see that these particular transports are not available tomorrow.
Colonel Donovan.
This is a 101 raid for the 97th today, and let's make this second 100 as destructive as we've made the first 100. Now, we've got these bastards on the run here. Let's keep them on the run. And let's mow down all the air power that they have.
Tick time tick now. Coming up on 10:16. 15 seconds to go. 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hack.
After briefing, the heavy bomb crews leave directly for the plains. About the same time, crews of the 321st Medium Bomb Group start for their planes in jeeps. These medium bomb crews will attack their target, Matur, while the B-17s head for Sidi Ahmed Air Base. The truck from 97th Group headquarters arrives and drops the crews off along the line of B-17s. Many of these crews are already veterans in this campaign. At this time, the Northwest African Strategic Air Force was moving toward the big final push. were scored on the airfield. City Army. Immediately after the mission, crews of the heavy bomb group arrived for interrogation. This crew had a very successful mission.
Did any of you fellas get any today?
I got one, too.
Good, that's swell. That makes two for this crew. Well, Olson, let's hear your story.
Oh, I was watching these 109s firing around up there looking for an opening.
Mostly what, 109s today?
There was a couple of park wolves in there, too. And there's one peeled off at about 1,000 yards out, a couple hundred feet above us. Come in at about 8 o'clock.
He was high, you say?
Yeah, about 200 feet high. We started closing in, and I tracked him for a few yards and started shooting.
How many rounds did you shoot into him?
Oh, about 50 rounds. And then he opened up with his 30s at about 800 yards. And about 600 yards, he started using his cannon. And bullets up to then had been very effective till he peeled off over the top of us about 200 feet. And the last burst I fired, I clipped his tail off.
Got his tail off.
The last I seen him, he started down.
Did anybody see this?
Yeah, I seen it.
What did he do, Little Wolf?
I see the damn tail blow off, and he went down the steep dive and seen him crash and burst into flames.
Well, there's no doubt about that one, is there?
No, there's no doubt about that one.
Won't be bothered with him anymore.
Nastel, you also got one, didn't you?
Yes, this one here come in about 4 o'clock high.
What was it?
Fox Wolf.
Bob Wolf. That makes one of each.
Yes. This one come about 4 o'clock high, and he was coming in. He wanted to slide in on a tail, but he wanted to get in there stable, or the stable horrorizer.
Horizontal stabilizer?
Yeah, the horizontal stabilizer, and he got in there, and he wanted to get in on a tail, but he got over too far, and
Slipped over.
yeah, he slipped over about 500 yards, and I started shooting at him then.
How close did he come to you?
Well, he got about 200 yards within the guns, and then he went right straight down. And I called up the ball turret, man.
How many rounds you put into him?
Oh, about 50, I'd say.
Got 50 into him.
The ball turret man saw him go down.
You see him go down?
Yeah, after Shorty called me up, I followed him down with my ball turret, and I raked him. He wasn't spinning or anything. I thought he might be big and coming up on our belly, so
You got a few shots in him, too.
I gave him a few good bursts, and he went straight down to the dive and hit me down and exploded.
That was a damn good raid.
One of the B-25 crews wasn't so fortunate.
Well, boys, I understand that mature trip was pretty rugged. Lieutenant Bem, did you ever get to the target?
We got to the target.
You did. Where was it that your engine was shot out, Lieutenant Holt?
That's 2 minutes before the target.
Can you show me on this map here?
Yes, sir. It's down here in this section, south of the
Oh, I see, right about in here.
Yes, sir.
Sergeant Fort, how'd you get that crack on the nose?
Landing on land or on water isn't as smooth as on land. I think one of the ammunition cans caught me in the nose for the land.
Joe, tell me, where did you land on the beach?
About 5 miles south of Cape Negro.
Oh, that's south of there.
Oh, yes, sir.
About how long were you all on the life raft?
Well, from the time we all got aboard, approximately 3 hours before we reached it.
Sergeant Uzelko, you're a gunner, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
What position?
Third gunner, sir.
Did you have any trouble getting out?
No, sir, not too much.
Where did you get out?
Sideways then, onto the starboard window there if we got out.
Went those machine guns in your way?
No, sir, we threw them overboard. Over there.
If I need any more data or pinpoints, I'll call on you, fellas, and Thanks a lot. I think that you've had all the tough luck that's coming to you, don't you?
The Battle of Tunisia is over. It was a hard fight, but it represented only the initial phase of this operation. It was a preliminary bout. The main event will be the all-out air operation against Germany and against Berlin itself. The jobs of the Northwest African Strategic Air Force were first to stop supplies of materiel and personnel getting into Tunisia, and later to stop personnel from getting out. These jobs were accomplished by destroying both the supplies and the means of bringing supplies in. Harbors were attacked, marshalling yards, shipping, both naval and merchant, and the enemy air, both his offensive air force and his air transport. I want to take this occasion to congratulate and to thank the boys of the Northwest African Strategic Air Force for the job they have done. It's been outstanding. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to serve with them.